Well, our drone day was highly anticipated, but I don't think it was bad. Just the wind was borderline. You could tell by the end of the day the drone was struggling to keep up, which means the winds were somewhere around 25 kilometers, 22, 25 kilometers an hour. Real dusty today. Did that play a role in some of the horses' brakes? I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for them. Everybody had to work through the dust. So before we get too enthralled in blaming things for horses' brakes, let's just say what they were. They were brakes. So we're dealing with the first part of March, as I keep saying, 84 days till the first day of qualifying season. I guess that makes it June 1st. We probably won't qualify until, I guess, every year around the 5th or 6th is the very first qualifier. So that's more than likely when a lot of these horses will see the maybe even the gate for the first time, but we'll see. But for today, man, oh man, we had some horses that looked really, 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 really good. Some horses that look better, that are a little worse than they should have, and some that were just kind of the same as they always are. Before we get into how the babies did and talk about anything like that, let's talk about the week we had. Definitely a much better week than we had in the previous weeks, for sure. Yes was a winner, a long-awaited winner after Flamborough. That whole experiment to go to the Meadows in Northfield just didn't work out. And I think I can speak for everybody involved with Yes in saying that very, very pleased with the results of Yes in Yonkers this week. A winner, 156-4, first over, but looked real good doing it. So Pine finished second in 56 and a bit at Mohawk, but very short coming in. I guess no excuse again. Yes was off a month, right? Almost a month. And then So Pine was off 2 weeks plus. Raced good. I said to James after, I think we take the bell boots off and let his hobbles out just a hair. I think a little bit of improvement there, factoring in him being tight for next week. So big things expected for So Pine in the future. Broadway Roll won her first sophomore start, her first lifetime start. Her first lifetime win was Friday night in London. 2 minutes and 2/5, last half 58-4, last quarter 29 a bit. I thought she looked rather well. Where we go from here with her in particular, I don't know, but celebrate the win when we get them. A win with Broadway Roll, and then Won My Heart Hanover second. She should have been a winner, but she finished second and raced rather well in the first leg of I don't know what it's called, the series that they have over there. There'll be stake races for Won My Heart and Frilly Fringes for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Frilly Fringes made a break. Was it the quarter crack? Was it the bridle change? Who knows? Either way, she made a break, which the rarest of rare breaks for her. I don't even remember ever making a break training down. So we'll definitely give her a mulligan and just say, hey, it happens. She's a trotter. We saw Fox Valley Britska have a very odd race, finished third, but raced well. I expect him to come back good, but then drew the 8-hole. So we'll see what we can do from the 8-hole with Fox Valley Britska this week. Off-Road Hanover was fourth. He raced okay. But Jason had some vet work done on him today, I'm told. He trained better. So expecting better things from him. Then Rooney Blue Chip, a little surprised. I thought he'd need another week, but Jason has him in to go Wednesday and believes he can. He's good and ready to go. Going to do some work on him today also, but for the most part, he believes he's ready to dance. What else do we have? GW Chrome, you saw the training from him this week. Well and down. Gray is the new red. Now today, Jason called me to tell me he trained I'm a Lovely Lady, My Jazz, Mama Knows Best. They all train great, according to Jason. So good things around the corner in Ohio. Obviously, I can't be a part of the earliest festivities in Ohio this year. The tail end of what's going on with COVID and the border restrictions. You guys know I was quarantined for the past 14 days. So it's not, the quarantine's not the end of the world. The fact is I can't go to the barn when I'm quarantining, obviously. So that plays a role. It's a double-edged sword, right? I can't, going over to the States is great, getting your work done over there. And then when you return, you have to stay home. I can't go with the babies. And then after what we saw today, a lot of good stuff, but some stuff that needs tinkering. If you were to say, Anthony, which horses concern you? I'm not concerned with anybody, but I did see So a few little holes. Duke Dio, as I said, running in a little more than I'd like to see him today. I'd like to get that looked at. Twin B Habanero, 1 mile and 2:38 today. Huge jump for him. But again, on the right line a little more than I'd like to see. Unbeatable Kemp made a break. What the hell's going on with him? I told you he was good on Friday, and then Saturday he didn't. Now, that's more problematic. Did the work I put into Friday bother him that much that he made a break on Saturday? Was it the dust? Was it the wind? Was it the anything? I don't know. There's one more horse on the right line a little bit. But none of these horses, I mean, for the people that have been with us for a while, this time of year you start to see, there's a line in that knee, we have to shut them down, or we have to take an OCD out. Not the type that you take out from the sale, but the type, a fragment like Jazzy Judy last year. So we've been very fortunate in the sense that we haven't had many injuries now, knock on wood. Haven't had any injuries to speak of as of yet. And I think we're way ahead of anything that seems to be coming up. When I say Duke Dio was on a line, not really lame. Just want to get a good look at him and make sure that we don't have any issues that we blew past. You know, I continue to always say to you guys when the horses are talking, make sure you're listening. And when it comes to Duke or even Unbeatable Kemp, right? As I said, any of those horses, Twin B Habanero, any of those horses biting lines or doing things that we really shouldn't or don't want to see them do right now, are they superficial? Is it a cut? Is it a quarter crack? Is it a this or that? Or is it something a little more serious? It's always worth making sure you make the distinction between the two. So overall, 45 horses went out today. The only reason we didn't have a full card of 47 was the other two were recovering from OCD surgery, right? The minor OCDs that were with Hill of Magic. She's back jogging on Monday, was walking all week. Miss Mildred, I almost went with Miss Mildred today, but I said, you know, I'm pretty sure we're going to go 30, 35. I don't want to just dump her into the deep end of the pool after an operation. Why don't we just take another week? So that's exactly what we did and we are going to do. You'll see all those horses back in action soon. I want to get another drone out to you guys very soon. We'll be looking at the forecast coming up, see what we can do. Probably, excuse me, probably won't be next week, but it certainly could be the week after. So that is what's going on there. So better week at the track this week. We have a number of horses racing this weekend, so hope for some more luck from them. I know a couple of them drew poorly, so we can only do what we can do, but it's been a decent week at the track. Now, getting back to the babies and how they look today, I'm going to give you the highlights of the sets, what I thought was good. If anything looked glaringly wrong to me, I'll bring that up also. This has nothing to do, obviously, with talking about all the 2-year-olds, and then in turn doing a top 10 list for you this week, which I will do. Maybe throughout the week next week I'll also get our other trainers to do a top 10 list like we did the weeks before. I'll lasso James and Johnny and even Amy. See if we can get Jimmy on a day when Jimmy's out. So many of you didn't know this. I've said it before. Jimmy works for the race office at Mohawk, so he can't always be at the barn. Today was his first and second day this week being there. We'll gladly have him if he's going to come out. If Jimmy's going to come out to the barn, do a little work for us, and we'll very happily accept his offer. So we'll get him to do a set list also, because he did go with a lot of horses today. So looking at the sets, first set was of Tom, Spent, Eyes at 10. They finished up 1, 2, 3. And now I watched the videos quick just to make sure I didn't make any mistakes, because if I'm up front and there's a horse in 6th, I can ask Mario, hey, how did Rosie's Masterpiece go? But I want to see it with my eyes also and make sure that what he's saying is what I'm seeing. And if not, I need to rectify what the difference between the two is. Rosie's Masterpiece looked fine. She went 1 mile and 2:34 today. I believe 2:34. A little scrambly in the turns, and then when she switches her leads coming out of the turn, I know exactly what she's doing. We switched her to a set of flip-flops in the winter time. Just go easy on her knees and feet. And with the flip-flops, sometimes they'll interfere a little bit. And what you're seeing in those turns is her switching her leads, going into the turn, coming out of the turn, maybe touching an ankle or up on a jack somewhere in between. Trotters will do that, and they'll learn to go with it. But I suspect when we do get the flip-flops back off Rosie's Masterpiece, those wrinkles will disappear. Eyes at 10 was great, closing in on us off 2.5 weeks, though. And Amy put an awful workout into of Tom on Wednesday. So she was plenty tight. Spent got away behind me. He kind of got out of gear like he was going to make a break in the last turn, so I doubled up off Tom. And then James came 100 on the end of it. And after a mile and a half and doing your work, it's not just easy to stomp on the accelerator and come forward. So he almost picked me off, but she did hold on. He was second. Isa 10 was third. Slim Jimmy did his work well. Now, a horse I got a lot of emails, various questions about was Matt's MVP. Now, keep in mind, Matt's MVP has been flawless for about 6 weeks. And as I said, if you guys are watching the commentary in between sets, today was the last icy day for the next, well, we have 14-day forecast. So for the next 14 days for sure, there's going to be no ice on the track. So we had corks on a lot of the horses. I didn't want to reshoe them this week and take the cork off if they're going to need it today. And the horses that actually went with no cork today went fine. So I could have in hindsight, but it just wasn't something I was going to gamble with. Now, truth be told, if we had arrived here this morning and there was a ton of ice on the track, like just slippery conditions, there would have been a number of scratches because I didn't have corks on them, right? And luckily that wasn't the case. The flip side of that was the horses that were due to be shod, needed to be shot on Tuesday, had to wait until this Monday or Tuesday. Matt's MVP was one of them, and I can almost assure you he was just interfering. His feet were too long up front. I could tell right away. As soon as I come off the track, Johnny was like, I don't know, he just wasn't himself today. And I'm looking at him in the bath rack, and I'm like, this was one of the guys that needed shod bad. And he goes, yeah, he was, and his toes are pretty long. To me, when I look at his brakes, they were interference brakes, so not interference by somebody running into him, but him interfering, and those big long toes for sure would have played a role. So cut Matt's MVP some slack. I know I've asked you that a number of times, but Matt's MVP has not made any mistakes and beaten up on everybody for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. So the least of my concerns is Matt's MVP. So virtually everybody in there did their work really well. I had to go back and see Slim Jimmy. He got interfered with when Matt made a break, but then trotted well the rest of the mile. Keep in mind, we went a mile in 31, half in 17, last half in 14, and for any horses to make up ground, they would have to come up faster last half. That's a big ask for March the 5th or 6th, 2021 for these horses. So where they sat is kind of where they're going to finish today if we're coming fractions like that. Into the second set now. Arch's Rainbow came first over. Johnny said, she was just so aggressive, I had to come with her. When he did, I was hoping he would just sit outside. As soon as he get down in front of Duke Dio, he lost his focus on his gait and started focusing on Arch's Rainbow. You can see him look around and dip and dive. Then we got to the turn where he's going to need his focus to get through there, and I just lost him getting through the turn. And even to add insult to injury, I interfered with 3 Point Blue Chip when I did it, who also made a break. It was pretty obvious. James said he was trotting good before he made a break, which is great. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm just wondering. Oh, sorry. Arch's Rainbow, though, was fantastic. First over, it finished up strong. Now she made a break, I think, in the turn, a little break afterwards, but in the mile was flawless and very, very good. Tioga Sunshine was flying on the end of it, and Twinkle in Her Eye was also good in the middle. So those horses were 1, 2, 3. I made a break, interfered with James. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Then we went on to the third set. Century Invictus, this is the first time I went with him. I didn't want to empty him out, really go at him down the lane. Although I know if I clearly after the mile, I hit him a couple of swats with the whip, and he took off. Had I done that coming out of the turn, I'd probably win or second anyway. But as it turned out, I was third. Luck of the Dragon, I believe. I didn't think he held on, but I was back a bit. Looking at the video, it looks like he did. Doesn't matter. Almost Air Boss looks great. So does Luck of the Dragon. 2 big miles from 2 of our best horses. They were both awesome today. I finished third and then come back on after the wire through the turn and took off, which showed a lot of guts and a lot of stamina from Century Invictus. I was very happy with him. Peanut Butter and Jelly was bottled up in behind them. Now, Confederate Cruiser made a break in the last turn. I know exactly why. He's been on the left line finishing up with the corks on. We got the corks off of this guy, which was good, although you can see him running in now, away from the gear that we put on the outside. So I think we had a little too much on the outside of him, which caused him to run into the turns and in turn make a break. So take that line pole or the Murphy blind off, one or the other. Just don't have both on him, and I think he'll be fine his next time out. Fourth set was the heavy hitters for the trotters right now. I put a big move into Voyage of Ice and Fire on a big quarter, brushed him to the front, slammed the brakes on the front end. Bomb Hugger just reeled me in, and I looked over and I knew that I'd already used Voyage of Ice and Fire pretty hard to get to the front at the quarter pole. When I saw Bomb Hugger coming, I knew it was going to be tough, right? She's such a ferocious little animal. She just roared right up alongside me and then just coasted by me. Voyage of Ice and Fire, big colt. He's got big, heavy feet on up front, too. Corks on. No excuses. Bomb Hugger's just a top of the class. She's a really, really good horse. Voyage of Ice and Fire fought right to the wire and fought very strongly. Purple Aura ended up good in third. Now, somebody said, oh, Purple Aura gets out, she beats him. That's a negative. She was not beating either of those horses, but she did herself a lot of good in her showing. Just over-trotted herself at the wire, which is very rare for her, but that just goes to show how quick we were trotting into the wind and the filthy dust down the lane. Bomb Hugger was just, for a horse that didn't train in 2.5 weeks, just incredible. Voyage of Ice and Fire he got to train on Wednesday and she didn't, so no excuses. Now, she's a medium-sized filly, so she's built for right now. Voyage of Ice and Fire is a giant. I can't wait to see what the finished product of Voyage of Ice and Fire is going to look like. Just an incredibly impressive-looking animal. Very, very happy with those horses. Happy with the whole set. I know that Renegade Gypsy made a breakdown by the wire. Prairie Fire was closing in on them. Another big half. Hard to make up ground when they're really smoking along. So I was really, really happy with Prairie Fire after I watched. And then Better Be Sawyer. I know Chris just thought he was going to flip her 3 wide and blast around those trotters. But what he didn't realize was those 2 trotters are very, very fast. And she bit off a little more than she wanted today. Not really the end of the world. Everybody really in that set either went good or had a very good reason not to. Set 4 was great. Set number 5, Mischievous Rose, couldn't quite run down Garden State Dio. What about Grace? Grace looked fantastic in third. I know exactly what happened with Massive Profit. He wanted to get at that horse, and I moved up alongside James. Now, Garden State Dio is a little spooky, right? So if I had just blew right by her and dropped down in front of her, she might have made a break. So I kept a real good hold of Massive Profit, kept him on the outside second, and then he was getting so antsy in the last turn, he just rolled off. But he was trotting very, very good. I don't want the hobbles back on this horse right now. Got a beautiful gait. I've spoken very highly of this horse for the past 10 days, and I will continue to. I can't give you the information. I can't quantify it, but I do believe this colt is near the top of the class. You guys just have not seen the proper Massive Profit just yet. Garden State Dio was great, as I said. Mischievous Rose, for those of you who bought into Mischievous Rose last week, well done. You can see why I was touting this filly. She's fantastic. 1-2 Skip a Few. Some remnants, I believe, of tying up 10 days to 2 weeks ago. Not a big deal. We'll get working on her and get her back into action. And then You Gotta Believe was also awesome also. Garden State Dio was a winner. Mischievous Rose was coming to her. Grace was coming to both of them. And You Gotta Believe was coming to all 3 of them. Those 4 were great. I made a break with Massive Profit. I told you why. 1-2 Skip a Few rolled off also. And then we went to set number 6. What a move Blue Bayou Dio had there and just rolled off. I can tell you exactly why she ran. When she clears to the front, I go to throttle her back, and I know she just interfered and made a break. Not a big deal. What I was impressed with was the move she put on them. There was only one other horse made a move like that this year that I saw, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, Bomb Hugger, way back when, maybe a month ago. The first time I went with her, and Blue Bayou Dio reminded me of the move she put on them. The only difference was she finished off the race and won. Blue Bayou Dio rolled off stride. Lots of time yet. Very impressed with this filly. LSL got cast in a stall and had a little soreness over his back the last week. Debbie's done a great job, caretaker of LSL, to get him in good shape. He was awesome today. Resolute Bay won the set, though. Rolled off very early in the mile, come back trotting, cleared to the front. Was awesome. Resolute Bay was great. LSL was great. Stonebridge Ducati, Mario thought just the dust and immaturity. I believe him, because Stonebridge Ducati does look at a lot of stuff, and there was the dust is just burning my eyeballs right now, and I've been trying to wash it out. So Stonebridge Ducati, okay, I'll give you that. Sweet on Pete, we got to work on. This is a big giant filly. Jimmy just said maybe put the hobbles back on. I don't want the hobbles back on her just yet. Just want to keep working on this filly, and then I will cut her loose again. And then Unbeatable Kemp made a break. He was great on Friday. I don't really know what get into him today. I was happy with him. Amy said he was on the line a little bit more. Maybe his knees are bothering him a little bit. We can work on that. Not a big deal at all. And then we went to set 7. Brilliant Corners was nothing short of awesome. We went a mile and 18 off a half and 13 a bit, I think. But Brilliant Corners, I just moved him up. For a horse that was a complete and absolute lunatic, like a loose cannon last year, and just turned into the horse he is now is quite incredible, really, to be honest. I just moved him first over, and as soon as Adrenaline Rush came to his bridle down the lane, he was gone. He was fantastic. Adrenaline Rush was very good. Now, Northern Blizzard was a late add-on to that set. Little hot today, and he didn't want any part of those two pacers. That's fine. Got to work on his hotness, but you can see how strong and how big he got. He is a giant now and just looks incredible. I didn't see the other horses at the first start, but I talked to the ones that finished behind us. I talked to Greg Wade, who ended up going with Better's Hope. He said he was good. He just can't pace with those horses. It's a fair assessment. Cyrus Blue Chip was closing on the inside, and Sweet Ambitions finished up well also. Very happy with that entire group of sophomores. They all looked fantastic. Set 8, Kathy with an eye, no urine. Looked great. Trotted strong. I made a little adjustment. I really just took one. I had always had 2 sets of bell boots on her. Took 1 set of bell boots off. Totally different horse. It was really weird. I had to watch her in the turns. She finished up strong and then made a break in the turn well after the mile. But had a good day. Harlanelle rolled off the wire, but was trotting well, Jimmy said. Ty One On was in behind me and looked really good also. Twimby Habanero on the right line. Need to get him looked at, but 238's a big jump for him, and he was very, very good. Procrastinator also 238. He was very good also. These are 2 pacers that were way behind everybody. So before everybody says, well, they weren't that good, just pump your brakes. They were way behind everybody. And then we went to the 9th set, the last set. Granite Hill rolled off a couple of times. Johnny said he was getting his ass over too much. I want to go with Granite Hill next time. Not to say Johnny did anything wrong, but when I went with him, I thought he looked flawless. I have been happy with that particular horse. Put a blister on his stifles and Baycoxed him. He was much better. He's coming. He's going to get stronger in that right stifle. There is nothing structurally holding him back. Just got to put muscle on him. So that's patient work. That's what's going to take with Granite Hill. Rose Above It's a killer. An absolute killer. I told everybody about this horse. Yeah, he was in the 9th set, but make no mistake, this thing is a monster. He can fly. Very impressed with Rose Above It. Jimmy said, I'm telling you, I never even started him up. He said, I never got him out of neutral the whole way. He just coasted along and obliterated everybody. Very, very nice horse. A more Diener. Looked great again, finishing up with him. Stowburn's Dolce. She made a couple of breaks, but no big deal. I feel since we got the corks off this filly, totally different horse. Keep your eye on Stonebird's Dolce. I know I will. I mean, I haven't really talked much about her because she hasn't done anything to talk about. But man, she was simply good today. I want to go too far and say, oh, she was great. She ran twice. She was good today. I think with a little equipment, a little adjustment. Start with a clean slate. Rip all the gear off. Treat her as a new horse. I think you're going to see a much better Stonebird's Dolce in the future. Will to win Hanover. All right, made a couple little breaks today. James said, oh, we took the bell boots off because she had a heel scratch and whatever. She made a couple little breaks today. I want the breaks out of her, so we'll work on her this week to get her back on track. This is an incredibly fast filly. I didn't know how to work my top 10 projections into the stable, so I won't just yet. I'm going to give you a straight-up top 10 list. Some of those horses, I will incorporate what I believe, if it's information-based today. As they love to say these days on all the news networks, we're going to follow the science. So I'm going to look at all the information in front of me and give you a top 10 list. But if I was giving you a projected top 10 list right now, Will to win Hanover would be 1, 2, 3, easy. Maybe a 1. I think this is one of her most talented horses in the stable. James has done a great job with her. She made a little break today, acting up a little bit. We'll get her back on track, don't worry. Will to win Hanover made a break today. World for 2. Good day. Amy said, geez, he's got a big head on him and he's hard to hold. Not really an Amy horse, right? This is a big boy's horse. He's a little strong in the face, a little silly sometimes, but he's getting sounder, he's getting good. I like what I've seen from Stonebridge Dolce, and I think, for World for 2, and I think he will be good for the summer. I hope. We've been trying to do everything right with this guy. We'll see how it works out this summer. So that's it. That's your opening. 24 minutes. We talked about little Griffey. James is at the house. He took his young boy Griffin over to play with the kids. So we talked about the babies. We talked about the racehorses. We talked about how everything's going this week. Everything is much better. I'm out of confinement. I'm out of quarantine. The horses went pretty good today. Very, very happy all around. I will talk to all you. Still tons to talk about. I'll talk to all of you very, very soon.